Well, I think women are going to be glad that there's going to be a man in the House for change. That is at Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. So I want to actually put this out and tell you that really why I think the spot market is just really it's rigged, but it's not going to be able to stay rigged forever. I know you've been hearing this message before, but it's almost like going along analogous with the election itself. Elections have been rigged. I'm actually going to go into a little bit how I think this election was rigged too. Not something from Alex Jones, okay? It's something from me that I'm going to put out. And I'm going to tell you though, I think we're heading in a new direction, but it's still going to be a tough road. It's going to be a rocky road, as you can see in the mountains in the background in this photo. I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing all the way, and don't expect it to be, because the powers that be behind the scenes have always been there, and I'll kind of point them out. And I'm also going to point out some of the great discoveries that we've had in the past that should have influenced mankind for the better. And we always thought, oh yeah, it's this is fixed now, and that's why even for the people that support Trump, and I think he's legit now, I do. I wasn't sure about him. I thought he was playing a game with Clinton's. There's so much stuff that goes on. I don't trust anything. But it looks like the average American now feels like they did their job, and they feel happy that the guy's in the office, right? Fine. Some people aren't happy with that, but I'm actually going to give you something for you people too. But I think that there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that's far bigger than even politics or whatever the hell it is. By the way, Trump's not going to accept his salary, but that might be a bad omen because there's only two presidents before him that did not accept his salary. One was Herbert Hoover. We went into the Great Depression with that guy, and the other one was JFK, John F. Kennedy, and he was assassinated. And I'm like, that's not cool. I don't know if that's a good omen or bad omen, but let me just say this. It looks like the major media, despite all their orchestrations of trying to influence this and that, they lost out. But I also said it looked like at the last minute that Hillary Clinton was being too hot to handle, and it looks like they were just going to dump her. So I put that on another video, and I think I was right about that, because if they really wanted Hillary to win, they probably could have. I mean, it was like close. I don't think in reality it was close, okay, at all. But and I'm going to point out why. Now, I just want to say that as far as like what goes on the spot markets, everybody knows he's got a lot of web bots trading with each other back and forth. There's fake silver being dumped on the market, not real silver. It's like computer algorithms dumping silver so they drive the price down. Actually, since 2000, there's been ongoing lawsuits about the oil price discovery market, spot market, since 2000. They said that, oh yeah, we're going to fix it. It's been 16 years, and that includes all the commodities. Actually, one of the ones that's bringing forth the lawsuit was a farmer headed in NYMEX, New York Mercantile Exchange. It's still not being fixed. Okay, I know but there's one. There's going to be a time when it's not going to fly anymore, the numbers that they're giving you. Now, I got this little snippet from usdebtclock.org, which on the bottom right hand corner, it's today's version, which is November 12th. So whenever you're looking at this, even next year, probably close to these numbers. Oil should be $27 a barrel with the amount of dollars we got out there floating around as compared to oil to dollar ratio back in 1913. Now, probably, if people look at this months from now, oil's going to probably be a hell of a lot higher. I think it's going to be in the 60s by the end of the first quarter, by March 31st, 2016. I know what happened in the spot market right after Trump got elected. All the prices, silver, palladium, platinum, and gold, all went down. Oil went down. Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts. Iron, $770, $777 an ounce, right? Copper, $22. This is with figuring how many dollars are out there chasing the amount of materials as compared to 1913, right? Copper's like what, $3 a pound or something? I don't even know what it is, But silver now, $953. That's what it should be if you're just looking at this factoid, number of dollars chasing, how much silver's out there. Now, I think silver should really go up for this reason, and just like people aren't aware of it, for medicinal purposes or antimicrobial disinfectant purposes. I mean, even if you say it's not medicinal, it's antimicrobial disinfectant for sure, and even antimicrobial disinfectant great on bandages for that too. But besides anything, it could be household cleaning. I don't know why people don't have ionic colloidal silver makers in all their homes, but it's amazing they don't. It's been known since the 1800s and before. I mean, early settlers used to use silver coins to keep water longer, right? Dollar to gold ratio, $8,661 an ounce. So yeah, that'd be crazy if we see that ever happen. Now, if that happens, that means the economy's imploded. But let's hope it doesn't happen that bad. Let's hope we get. I'd really like to see our precious metals go up and everything else stay down, but I don't think that's going to work out like that. But let me just put it to you this way, and this is kind of even analogous to the election. Trump got elected, fine, it's great. Okay, I'm cool with that. I voted for him. I wasn't sure what the hell he was about in the first place because I was like, what? Because he was consistent on USA #1 all the years, so that finally convinced me. And he was in the New York Military Academy, and I'm thinking he's cool. Maybe he's cool. Now, but if you look back, even back in the 30s, we've had these times where, dread disease germs destroyed by rays, claims scientists, which was Royal Rife. Now, I got a lot of videos on my channel about, the Rife technology using the plasma to destroy disease and germs. Yeah, probably shouldn't say that. That's a medical claim, right? But anyway, but yeah, the technology's legit. It does work. I mean, maybe I don't want to say how good it works because then people's expectations go up too high, but it does work. As a matter of fact, in this case, they proved it. This guy, he proved it on hundreds and hundreds of examples in lab mice. He gave cancer to, and he cured them. He deliberately gave him cancer, and then he cured him. He deliberately gave him cancer, and then he cured him. Then they tried it on 16 terminally ill patients with the best, under the observation of the best medical doctors in the country, and it worked. So that's when they put this article out. And you're thinking, oh, wow, everything's world safe. But you know what? Here comes the dark forces. The dark forces wanted to buy him out, wanted to destroy him, and all this other stuff. So I can imagine the dark forces are coming out right now against Trump, But it's also, there's only so much they can manipulate because here we are, when this was back in the 1930s, here we are 70-something years later, or 80 years later, we've rediscovered the technology. So some of these things might take longer than you think, but, maybe that's when silver will be at $900 an ounce some umpteen years from now. But in the short run, in 2017, I think it's going to take quite a rise. But we've always seen this game before. It's with political parties, Democrat and Republican. As a matter of fact, this HW guy here shaking the hand of Gorbachev, he's been a puppet master of Reagan and the Clintons. Okay, I mean when Mena, Arkansas was going on with all the drug running, that was when Clinton was Attorney General and also governor. Bush was president, and before him, it started with Ronnie Reagan. Who did détente with China? Nixon, right? Who did price controls? Nixon. I mean, the Watergate, that's nothing. The other stuff is bad. That's what I look at it, right? But you see what I'm saying? It's like there's a control mechanism behind the scenes, and that's exactly what's going on with the spot market. Now, see what I like about silver, though, is where it's different from a lot of, and I know I like palladium better than gold too, because I think palladium's got far more potential for gold to go up, and it's 90% industrial. But the thing is I like about silver is that it can be useful, even if somebody says, oh, say the silver price went down to $10 an ounce and you bought it for 2 ounces for, $20 each, right? Or whatever, Well, if you're using it for medicinal purposes, you don't give a damn. And if everybody was doing that, there wouldn't be, just in the United States, and everybody would be, biologically a lot cleaner, it would be great. Actually, Obama just put out this big executive order just right now about, worldwide epidemics and all this kind of crap. And, here we got stuff like that's even non-technical where you can even make colloidal silver. And I know with the Spooky 2 machine can make, high quality nano silver. But, even just doing it the simple way with the batteries, you could disinfect a lot of different things. As a matter of fact, you could take, say the air is bad, there's germs in the air. Well, you could take a little of that colloidal silver and put it on the mask that you wear, and it can help filter out some of the germs. That can help. Not be perfect, but what does it cost you? Squat. But see, the problem is nobody knows about it, so nobody's doing it. It's very few. It's not even 1%. It's not even It's like a tiny, tiny fraction of 1% of the population uses silver for medicinal purposes or even, antimicrobial purposes. People aren't aware. But it's a big game. It's just like conservative and liberal and blah 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 and whatever the hell it is, and you know what I mean, the politics and all this stuff. Yeah, Trump probably is legit because he's pissing everybody off, and usually when you piss everybody off, you're right, And here you got Ronnie Reagan making a deal with the devil here. I'm going to tell you, even as a side note, when Gorbachev, he was all in with these, with the environmental protection, which is another communist guys. And here Reagan, they're all in with that. Well, Reagan was big oil. Trump is going to definitely be better than Reagan. I'll tell you that. And these yo-yos and Republicans thought this Reagan guy was the best thing on this earth. Anyway. But we've always had knowledge and technology that was brought forth to us by people over the years, and then it gets crushed, like Nikola Tesla. But again, I want to mention the thing about medicinal silver. How come people aren't doing it? I don't understand this. Even if they're doing it just for antimicrobial, to clean their bathroom or kitchen, fine, whatever. They don't do it. I don't understand this. It's like, it's not enough advertising out there, and it's not worth it to advertise because maybe, just like simple vinegar, bleach, and ammonia can replace all these other wacky products out there that people use to clean their house that cost $umpteen that are a bunch of BS, right? We got the answers. Now, actually the answers for all the humanity for energy was solved with Nikola Tesla with this Wardenclyffe Tower. Now, I think this technology is actually something really ancient technology where, even the pyramids, and I know I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here because, I just do that for the hell of it. And I don't like putting out 2-minute blurb videos like these attention grabbers. But you get a lot, if you get a long video on me, you're going to probably get a lot of areas that are not well known. But this Wardenclyffe Tower with the wireless electricity, that really did work. And it was torn down by J.P. Morgan because he couldn't put a meter on it, right? Well, that would have solved the whole problem in the Middle East, and, we would need oil to run our power generation plants, right? Now, actually, this technology is probably ancient technology, this Wardenclyffe Tower wireless electricity, because there's a lot of more knowledgeable people that actually theorized that the pyramids themselves were electrical power plants using the Earth between the ionosphere or whatever, what's in the sky and the Earth. It was type of a power plant, and that the casing stones really made the thing work. And the casing stones are probably blown off the pyramid by the cataclysmic worldwide event, which was probably the flood was in the Bible. Now, people don't like that, hearing that, people don't want to believe nothing in the Bible. And the Sphinx shows definite evidence of flood damage, right? Now, I'm kind of saying that because, in the Bible, there's a lot of hints that we're in the end times or one of the, cataclysmic times coming up. So I don't know what's going to happen where everybody's breathed a sigh of relief who's voted for Trump. That it may not be that simple. I don't know. And usually during times of calamity, I'll tell you what really happens is, gold goes way up, copper goes up, oil goes up, silver goes up, and blah, blah, blah. There's probably going to be times of calamity. Now, I want to get into a little bit about the vote numbers. Now, first I'm going to look at this chart. Trump won more rural counties. And I'm bringing this out because this is how you can, I'm going to tell you some other things I shouldn't even tell you, but the hell with it. Trump won more rural counties, right? So you got over 90% of the rural counties, country boys, boys and girls. Trump won more counties where the population is 100,000 or more. So he got 63.3% in there. So I'm thinking, well, where the hell did Hillary get her votes? Because he won the country and he won the counties with a lot more, you know, population. So I'm thinking, how could it be pretty close? Almost, she actually threw it. I don't know if that's real numbers, but she got slightly more popular votes supposedly. But here's where, if you just take these 6 major cities, she got loaded with votes. And I know Alex Jones, I don't know what the hell he says. I heard he said something about illegal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you, it's really a matter of if you're going to play a game and dump some numbers in something, you dump it in something where it's not going to be noticed that much. It's like you can't take a city of, 10,000 people and throw like millions of votes in there. It's just going to be obvious, right? So if you're going to be doing something funny business, you're going to be putting it in where the biggest numbers are, right? Just like, and this is what I shouldn't say, just like the people that do stuff with, say they're building or whatever the hell it is, and they're building for their yo-yo family, son-in-law with a daughter-in-law or some crap, and they're doing something for them, and they want to bury that number in their biggest project. They're not going to bury that number in, office expense, paper clips, because that'll be too obvious. The 500 grand, whatever they put to that person, right? And that's the same deal with these damn numbers with votes, which is the same deal also with how they bring down the price of silver. We're going to sell, gazillion ounces of silver on the market right now and flood the market with silver. We don't actually have it, but we're selling it. So that creates a drive down in the price, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, if you had a bunch of real estate out there, how's real estate valued by the homes that are sold in the area, right? Well, say you can make up a bunch of fictitious homes. You can't do that with that, but you can do it with silver. You can just drive the price of real estate down, huh? But, here you look at Boston, right? An extra 500,000 votes for Hillary, Chicago, like over 1 million more votes for Hillary, but I don't think she won like that. She got 5 more million votes here. Now, if you took this and say these numbers were a lot more even, Boston, that would have meant that Trump would have won Massachusetts, Chicago, Trump would have won Illinois, Trump would have won California. Well, Trump did win Florida with Miami, despite Miami. Trump would have won New York, because that was like 1.6, almost, well, whatever. Yeah, 1.5 million. And Seattle, he would have won Washington State, right? So, and if you don't like that, just figure Gary Johnson's votes would have went to Trump and Jill Stein's would have went to Hillary, and that would have been it. But anyway, I have to bring that out because that's another way you could bury stuff. You bury stuff in large numbers, not little numbers, right? It's in large numbers. If they're making a transaction from overseas, it's got to be in with something really big. And then it's not, whatever, I don't want to say too much about that. Now, the other thing is, with, what's going on with the Federal Reserve, they have bought up troubled assets. You heard of the Troubled Asset Relief Program, TARP, right? Troubled Asset Relief Program. I don't know, it was in 2008, October, whatever it was. When Bush signed it in off, before Obama came in office. It's basically, give you a comparison. They're buying up the garbage from the banks at face value. So in other words, say you got a portfolio, like you got a stock portfolio and you got all these stock tickers and shit, and you got some of them are losers. Say somebody comes along and buys them up at face value so you don't lose any money. Well, that's exactly what the Fed Reserve did with the troubled assets on the banks, which was all these assets they had on their books, right? Well, what does the Federal Reserve now have on their books? Well, they got on their books at face value what they paid for something, but how did they unload it? How could they just get rid of it out on the market? They can't. So, in fact, the Federal Reserve is broke. And, their solution is they just they're just playing the game. It's a debt-based fiat money system. It's not just fiat money system. It's a debt-based fiat money system. And we're also running out of assets to base the debt upon. That's another thing. Uh, like consumer credit is tapped out. In other words, consumer credit went way the hell up on the curve, and now it's tapped out because there's no more assets. There's nothing else they could borrow against. And actually, that's what's been driving the economy. But on the higher end, we got, you know, the big banks are flush with cash, but at the same time, they're leveraged against their derivatives exposure. Their net assets are usually about, depends on what bank it is, whether it's Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, or Goldman Sachs, whatever. They're leveraged between like 120 to 1 to 50 to 1 derivatives to, which is debt, bets to net assets. And the problem is that's what's going to get them. And when that happens, the Fed's not going to be able to freaking bail them out. And what it really is sort of like, they keep trying to pump up the economy, but it's going into, I know the old expression, the too bigs to fail. But the deal is with these too bigs to fail, they're non-producers. That's the problem. And eventually, this dam of money that's being built up behind the wall breaks open. That's where the central banks don't get it right. This has always happened. This is like economics 101. They try to stimulate the economy. You notice now, every time they put more money in the hands of the too bigs to fail, it doesn't do anything. Why? Because they're not producers. Now, I did put a video out about how a long time ago about local currencies. I think I always have it in my information box. Local currencies could actually stimulate the economy because it goes into the hands of people that do stuff, work, like framers, roofers, electrical people, carpenters, I don't know, people that work on cars, people do whatever. They produce something. So if they get a check for $10,000 or something or whatever, they get money from the government. They produce something. So if somebody's like a framer and a carpenter gets $10,000, I don't know, they make storage buildings and they sell them and they make a profit and then they keep going. If you give that kind of money, you give $1 million or $10 million to a bank, what do? They sit on it. Basically, that's what's happening. They're sitting on that cash, and it's eventually it's all going to bust forth because it's like building up water behind a dam, and it's like there's a limit to how much this charade can go on. Actually, it'd be better if the Fed just said everybody over age 18 and above got a $10,000 check. That would actually do more for the economy than you would think. Even though you say that's socialism, that's giving money to people that don't deserve it. But the people that actually are workers would take that $10,000 and actually make it into something that's worth $30, $50, or $100,000, and it would spur them on to get even more money, and other people would waste it. But in the case of giving that money to the people on the top, the too bigs to fail, it's always wasted 100%. You see? Even though that wouldn't be a perfect solution to give it to just everybody across the board, it would be better than just giving it to the too bigs to fail. So, anyway, it's going to take a lot to kickstart the economy for real, because the economy never has been kickstarted under your Obama administration. And, it's like, I don't know how Trump's going to do all this. I think what Trump can really do, if he's good, it's really what it has to be. It's like deregulate the shit out of everything. Not everything like in Wall Street I'm talking about, but as far as, making it very difficult for small businesses to get started. I mean, there's so much that any small business has to deal with, safety regulations and all this garbage like that. I know you can say, well, we need safety, fire regulations. There's a lot of, personnel. You have to keep on the personnel files, the W-9s, the I-9s, the I-9s, W-9s, a lot of the tax code. I mean, you got to pay state, anytime you hire an employee, you have to pay state unemployment insurance, you got to pay federal unemployment insurance, you got to pay your employer's side of FICA, Medicare. It gets complicated, So if you got one guy who wants to hire somebody, one person, it's like forget it, man. It's like they have to hire an accountant and it's not worth it. If you're a big company, it's more worth it to deal with all this garbage. And then, of course, you got all the freaking rules and regulations that came about because of the Patriot Act. So, anyway, so, you know, the thing is, the economy's not going to be fixed by a shopping spree. And I know I gave the example of just giving out the money. Now, in that case, like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to go on a shopping spree if they just gave out the money equally. They would actually produce. There'd be people that go out on the shopping spree, they'd lose. The people that actually are producers and they get hard assets that they could produce more with and more materials to produce more with, they would win. They double, triple, quadruple, 10 times over their money. But shopping spree is not the whole 9 yards. That's not at all it is. It's actually going to come down to hard work. Now, that's one thing I think when we actually get back to the nitty gritty of the economy, it's going to create a demand for commodities. And, there isn't really a big demand for commodities right now. Dr. Copper is actually showing us that because the economy's bad. Dr. Copper actually tells you what the economy's really doing. Imagine copper really should be at $22 a pound with the number of dollars chasing it, as I showed in that chart before. That's beyond ridiculous, but that's really how many dollars we got out there. And that's what I said. It's almost like that example with the dam and the dam breaking. That's when you're looking at the prices of what the commodities should be as related to the number of dollars out there as compared to 1913, what the prices were in 1913. And I was showing reasonable 1913 prices, right? I wasn't showing some crazy super low price or super high price. So that's right off the USDebtClock.org on the bottom right hand corner if you want to look that up. And by the way, we're just about $20 trillion for debt. So that's another thing. So I think that, it's all coming to a head real soon. It is. It's got to be. And, the bad omen I told you about, Herbert Hoover, he was the first guy that didn't, accept the salary for president. He made a lot of money in the commodities markets, I think, in copper and stuff like that. He decided not to accept the salary. A lot of people don't know that, do they? Right? You look at Herbert Hoover when he came on board. Oh, we had Calvin Coolidge and Warren Harding. Now today they say they're do-nothing presidents, but what they really did was they scaled back the government from the World War I big heights that it went up to. People realized what was going on. Historians skew history big time. So I mean, I don't know how this is all going to work out. I don't want to be negative, but I'm going to tell you, man, I don't know if it's going to. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. It's not that simple. And the alternative media is like saying, we got to beat, they're making it a big drama thing. But I think overall, it's what's happening in the United States. The economy's going to have to go up. The dam's going to break. Now, as far as Hillary, can you hear me now? We said no. Anyway, yeah, she'll never challenge the vote because there was like I said with those big cities, she didn't win that kind of vote. There's that when you're going to bury a lot of fake numbers in something, you got to bury it in where the big numbers are, right? And that's what the Clinton machine did. But I can tell you, I think the powers that be were ready to dump her because she's too much of a liability. But for the future, she'll probably have a new girlfriend, hopefully somebody like this. This chick would be a lot hotter than Uma. So, anyway, I don't really give a shit about her, tell you the truth, tell you one way or the other, because, the media attention's all going on her. But I can tell you right now, there's loads of people high up in the government that are just as evil as her. It's just that she's getting the attention. I'm not making an excuse for her, but you know how that goes. Popular attention's going on her. And actually, if you feel bad about it, vodka never disappoints. But as far as like what's going to happen with silver, when silver starts going up, that's going to be another game that's going to happen. It's going to get all the attention. And it's going to go up and up and up and up, and they're going to be telling you it's going to go to the moon. It's going to be the same game as before. But I'll be ready to sell it. I'll be ready to, not all of it, because I know it's always going to have that medicinal purposes. I think ultimately silver can go to some crazy heights for that reason. But I would be selling some of it because I think one of the things that's really permanent beyond metals is real estate. And if you look at any of the wealthiest people in this country, like Trump, right? Real estate. Actually, anybody that's in a lot of has a lot of wealth, they got a lot of real estate. Real estate's a very good investment. Depends on which real estate you get, but if you do your research, it's something that it doesn't really depreciate, and if you don't have any high maintenance buildings on it or anything like that, um, you're not gonna have a high tax bill for it or anything like that too. So anyway, just want to state that I think that in summary, it's coming to full circle now pretty soon. It's going to happen, I think, in the Trump administration for sure. That if, the prize, I hope nothing happens to him, though. That's another thing. I know some people theorizing that he might not make it to inauguration day. He's not been inaugurated yet. Oh God, I don't know. I've seen the Twitter things out there telling what people to do, but as far as them holding down the price of silver forever, nah, it can't be. But it's not just silver; they're holding down the price of every damn thing, except oil. Oil should actually be less. Oil is going to go to hell. Is going to go way to hell up again. And Obama has actually warned us about that a couple years ago. When it was going down, he says, don't expect it to last forever. That's what he said. I'm telling you, these guys drop hints every once in a while. They know it. They know. They know. Because once you light the powder keg in the Middle East, oil can go to some ungodly heights. I don't know what it would be. So, and that's one reason I kind of advocate the two-wheeled transportation as a backup too. So, anyway, just keep in mind that the spot market again is BS. I told you a little bit about what they did with the election, blah blah blah. I also told you what they could possibly do on the books with a lot of different things to do things that bury numbers and stuff like that. I told you about what's going on with the Federal Reserve and they really are. The Federal Reserve is pretty much insolvent when they're buying up these troubled assets because now they're holding on their books a bunch of garbage at face value with values that shouldn't be. I also told you that the exposure of derivatives to net assets of the biggest financial institutions in this country is so lopsided that they're ready to fall over like a house of cards, and it'll make 2008 look like nothing. And this may all come about during the Trump administration. To just kind of stick it to him because what did he put as a slogan? Make America Great Again. He's probably inheriting he isn't. I know he is. He is inheriting a problem that's really bad. See, I understand it. But the mass public don't understand it. Most of the mass public don't understand. I understand it. I can already see what the economy, stock market tanks. They're gonna blame him. I already know what they're gonna do. And I'm not gonna play politics because I could tell you right now. Like I said, H.W. Bush, he owned Reagan and he owned the freaking Clintons. Right? Now he's a Republican. He owned the Democrats. And why is that? He's CIA, right? And who made Hillary Clinton lose, right? If they really, really wanted her, she would have won. But they realized she's got. There was I think she was at least 70% of America didn't want her. Period. For real. They don't want that kind of problem because then nobody's going to cooperate with their little rackets called the government. Nobody's going to cooperate. Now the people will cooperate because Trump's in, we're saved. But they're going to be playing games left and right still. Believe me, I know the game, but the problem is most people don't. Most people don't. Anyway, over now, and have a nice day. And I'll be going to the gym and doing some cardio later.